Well, hello and welcome everybody to the new health conversation, and especially for the censors who monitor the community guidelines. We always tell you at the new health conversation that nothing we share is not in the public domain. Nothing we share is a claim. It's all backed by peer-reviewed human trial medical studies. And as you know, that's as high as you can go in medical research. So everything we're sharing with the general public is backed by medical proof. So we don't make outrageous claims. Everything we're talking about has been vetted to be completely safe, and it's backed by 10 peer-reviewed human trial medical studies. On the other side, when we quote from real medical proof, real medical science, nothing we give people is our opinion. Our opinion is based on real medical facts. So we always like you to know that, so there's no question that we stay within the community guidelines, because we're only sharing what's already in the public domain that everybody can take a look at. Okay? Well, hello everybody. So how did she do it? That becomes the question of the day, the hour, the month, the year. She lost 60 pounds in 3 months. It's not a diet. She didn't count calories and was not allowed to exercise. Now, the reason they didn't want to exercise was because otherwise then people would say, well, she lost weight because it was diet and exercise. She actually wore a Fitbit along with many other people to do this. Now, let me get right into it. This was developed after 100 peer-reviewed human trial studies on human beings over 40 years by the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world, not by me. There are no products to buy here. Set your mind at ease. We're going to teach you what they did in the studies. They developed new groupings of food, about 30% from the United States or North America, and the other 70% literally came from the far reaches of the world, from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, and New Zealand. And what they did, the researchers, well, no one's ever seen anything like this unless you have. You figure that, just 5 pounds a week for 3 straight months. Look at her face, look at her arms, look at everything that's involved here. Let me get a better picture. There you go. You can see a little bit even more. Hold on just a second here. Oops. There we go. That's better. So the point is that how in the world did she do this, right? And you look, you can see there right above her head in blue, the new health conversation. It's a free medical website you all can go to at any point. We will not contact you. There's nothing for sale on that site. The only thing on there is the medical proof. But right above, you want a free consultation. Not only is the consultation free, but we will coach you for free the whole time to get you to your goal and then show you how to maintain. The key to this, one of the big keys, is maintenance. I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks 23 years ago, and I've been able to keep it off for 23 years. That's what should interest all of you. Hello, let's see, we got Bon R, we got Join from Your Post, we got Errol, we got Carolyn, we got user 814, Charmine, Taneju, Kumakira. Well, we must have people from all over the world on the podcast, which is pretty typical. So what I would ask all of you to do is just sit back for a couple moments. It's going to take me a couple minutes to explain it. This is not about recipes, diet, 10,000 steps, making lists, none of that stuff. You've all heard it. But the sad reality is that from 1995 to 2025, the obesity rates in North America have doubled. Does that sound to any of you like diets are actually working? And also, if you like what you're hearing, just tap on the screen to get me some hearts and get me some likes. We're giving you only medical proof. I would ask all of you several questions. One, if you were going to lose just 20 pounds, let alone 60, how long would you give yourself? Number two, does anyone know the physical definition? What's the real definition of a calorie? Because you're all counting calories on these diets, and yet based on evidence, in a year's time, I've had 9 people that have ever given me the actual medical definition of a calorie, and yet you're counting calories. You have no idea what a calorie even is. That's the whole point. The whole diet system is completely broken, failed, and it can't be fixed. So it's not like some reconfiguration of, well, this calories at noon. These things like time-restricted eating, which is nothing but low calories. That's all it is. It's a bunch of nonsense, right? And the results that they show you are not backed by any medical facts. They're just opinions. When you look at the medical facts for some of these things, like this time-restricted eating where you don't eat for 16 hours, you eat for 8, it's a joke. It's a complete joke. So you have a chance today. It's a calorie, the energy of food. No, Jamie. No, it's not. Keep going, Jamie. I appreciate your effort, though. But you see my point, Jamie? If you really don't know what a calorie is, why would you be counting them? Because someone told you, and they never even told you the definition of a calorie? But here's the problem, Jamie. The human body has no idea what a calorie is. It doesn't count calories. When you're hungry, you're not hungry for calories. You're alive because of three things: air, water, and nutrition. What the researchers did, listen, they did 100 studies over 40 years. You name the diet, they analyzed it. They never found a diet in 40 years where people lost weight and kept it off. That's what you're all facing. I don't care what diet you're on, 2/3 of you are going to end up weighing more than what you do now. That's not an opinion on my part. That's from people like Medicare, New England Journal of Medicine. I mean, study after study is now showing that the whole diet world is upside down and wrong, and it's not working. It's an abject. Listen, worldwide, we have 2.5 billion people overweight now, and 1 billion of those are clinically obese. I mean, honestly, do any of you really think diets are working? I'd love for you to give me your opinion. From nutrient and be healthy. Great, Jamie. Well, that's what this is. So I'm going to, how do you count calories? You don't. It's the most ridiculous thing on the planet, Jamie. There's no reason. I mean, counting calories, you might as well be counting sheep. Because your body, Jamie, why would you be counting calories when your body has no idea what a calorie is? Put it in the chat. Does that make sense? Why would you count calories when your body has no idea what a calorie is? Your body has no use for a calorie. It's not nutrition. It's nothing. It's a measurement. You'll see if you look up the definition, right? All right, so let's talk about what they actually did, and that's good. We got 86 likes already. Let's get some more taps on the screen. So how in the world did she lose 60 pounds in 3 months with no exercise, 5 pounds a week? And as you can see, she lost, where's the loose skin, everybody? Because when they did the measurements on her, she lost no water weight, and with no exercise, she gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. Now, if you want to exercise, of course you can. But for these studies, they wanted to make sure the reason they didn't want her to exercise was because then you'd say, well, she lost weight because it was diet and exercise. No, it wasn't. So let me explain to you now what she actually did. But before I do that, I want to show you just what do we eat for good nutrition. Jamie, hold on for a moment. I'm going to tell you. All right? But I want to show you 3 more before and afters, and we'll come back to this in just a moment. Look at this one, everybody. So, Jamie, how excited would you be if you could lose 21 pounds in a month, 5 pounds a week with no exercise? Look at her stomach, how much it went down with no exercise whatsoever. Then we look at an older guy. He's about 65 years old. Where do you see this, everybody? He lost 40.8 pounds, 52.5 inches in 30 days. And look at his blood work, A1C from 8.4 to 6.4, triglycerides 242 to 124. Now, you can think it's fake, but it's your own peril, because this is real. This is going to make every diet obsolete. If you go to our, you can see right above your head there in blue, the New Health Conversation. Jamie, everybody else, it's a free medical website to go to. There's nothing on there to buy. It's just a medical proof. But if you like what you see, we're not going to call you. We won't contact you. But see right above, free coaching to ensure your success. You get all the coaching is free. There's no charge for coaching. All right? All right, so what did she do? How does this work? Jamie, you'd be very happy, right? I was asking Jamie, everybody, if she could lose 5 pounds a week, how happy would she be, right? But the reason I like this particular, this is my friend's daughter who was part of the studies, okay? But my point is that she not just lost 5 pounds like in the first week or the second week or the third week. Consistently, she lost 5 pounds a week for 3 straight months. How many of you have ever done anything like that? Would you all agree with me? You don't have to. But on a diet, at best, you're a half a pound to a pound a week, and you're all excited. Please give me some feedback in the chat, all right? And we've got 100 likes. Come on, everybody, let's get tapping on that screen. Let's get tapping. So here's what they did. The researchers who created it, let me repeat one last time. They're rated the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. They'd done 100 studies on human beings over 40 years and concluded no diets worked. They said, we need to do something different. So this will shock all of you. The very first thing they did on this protocol, no calorie counting, no calories. What they said was the failure of a diet, here's why you all are going to fail in your diets. All a diet is reducing the amount of food you're consuming. But what they've never told you is when you reduce the amount of food, it goes without saying you're reducing the amount of nutrition. You reduce the amount of nutrition, and now the nutrition is what keeps you alive. It's your brain, your heart, your kidney. It doesn't run on calories, it runs on nutrition. When your brain calculates there's not enough nutrition, you know what it does? It turns to your muscles for fuel as a survival mechanism. Now, although that will power you, because it's so inefficient, the body slows down your metabolism, and that's why you gain everything back. Does that make sense? That's why you gain everything back. So the researchers said, we're going to pick out foods where the number one criteria is high levels of nutrition. That was their number one goal. So they put together food lists. Only 30% of the food she bought, well, let me back up. Take whatever you spent last month on food. This month, you'd only spend, to do this, you'd only take 30% of those dollars and buy from the grocery store, but you get a list of proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. But instead of calorie amounts, they give you serving sizes, which are going to be smaller than what you're used to. But keep in mind, it has nothing to do with the quantity of food you're eating. It's about the amount of nutrition. So they figured out how to give you maximum amounts of nutrition in less amounts of food, but only 30% of what she consumed came from foods in North America. Here was the key. These researchers, by the way, there's no products to buy here. You're buying food, and you're not buying anything from us, and you're not buying anything from the researchers. So 30% of your groceries you bought last month from your grocery store. The other 70% left over goes to pay for these exotic foods that these other researchers had found over 20 years. They'd gone to Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, and the Himalayas, South America, New Zealand, where they found foods with huge amounts of nutrition. Those were the foods they gave to her. Now, that wasn't the end all. The key also was a new way of eating called protein pacing. It was so advanced that the U.S. Patent Office gave these researchers a registered trademark of this new way of eating called protein pacing. Now, what was protein pacing like? Well, 5 days a week, she had 4 meals a day until she lost all her weight. Let me repeat that. 5 days a week, 4 meals a day, starting with these exotic foods around the world that the researchers have called the world's most perfect meals from a nutritional standpoint, okay? Breakfast, lunch from the grocery store list that you would get, dinner from the grocery store list that you would have, and a fourth meal after dinner. These are the world's most perfect meals. Got it? So 5 days a week, you're eating 4 times a day. 2 days a week, you do something called, now it's going to flip all of you out, intermittent nutritional, notice the word nutritional, fasting, not water fasting, not time restricted eating. On those days, no food from the grocery store, only these world's most perfect meals, but this time she ate 8 times a day. Yes, she was eating every hour and a half for 2 hours. Diabetics on this, no insulin spikes. In a month's time, they proved hunger came down 41%. But here was the big thing that you wouldn't even expect, and why this works and why it's so different than everything else. They did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis and proved this protocol was a detox. And it was removing chemicals from the body. As a matter of fact, we all suffer from this medical syndrome called TDOS, whether you know it or not. You are storing, the T is for toxins. You're storing in your fat cells, whether you know it or not. The D is for the deficiency of nutrition in a body that doesn't allow the body to adequately be able to get rid of these chemicals. It causes us to be overweight and stressed. Now, if you think you're thin and you get a pass, you don't. They did a huge study on 300 really fit individuals. They did MRIs in their bodies and found around the brain, the heart, the kidney, the liver, breast tissue, prostate, this white halo of this toxic fat. So the way you look on the outside has nothing to do with the way you look on the inside. And they proved it. No diet has ever removed a gram of toxins from anybody. The number 2 thing that they found, this is medical proof, they lowered inflammation. Now, in case you didn't know it, inflammation, we all suffer from it. It's the underlying cause of every single disease out there. And we're not treating, curing, diagnosing, or preventing any medical disease. All we're doing is reading from the actual published peer-reviewed human trial studies that you all can see at the New Health Conversation for free. None of this is my opinion. I don't want you to believe me. But if you believe in, this is the breakthrough everybody's been looking for. It's going to make every diet obsolete. I can tell you this, the people that go there and then talk to a coach, almost 100% want to do it. I mean, otherwise you're selling for what, everybody? A half a pound a week? And what are you losing? 25 to 40% of what you're losing is lean muscle, which slows your metabolism down. You're all going to gain back all your weight or more. I hate to tell you that. It's the truth. It's based on the medical proof. It's not my opinion. Study after study is showing that. Now, how about the third most important thing about this is maintenance, is being able to sustain your weight loss. I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. I know this sounds preposterous to most of you, but my gosh, what are you doing with these diets? Maybe a half a pound a week. Do you agree? And that's initially. Then it slows to a trickle. And then it plateaus, and then you gain all your weight back and you look for a new diet. Am I close? The yo-yo effect, right? Right? But no one's ever told you why that's occurring. It's occurring because 25 to 40% of what you're losing is lean muscle. You're losing no fat. People that tell you you're burning fat on a diet or exercise, it's a lie. You're born with a certain number of fat cells, you die with a certain number of fat cells, and your fat cells of your lifetime can expand or they can shrink. Look, as I said, look at the shrinkage in her body. Yes, Jamie, in cravings, for most people reported that the cravings were almost gone within 7 days. Because again, the thing you're craving, all of you, the thing everybody craves, it's not calories, it's nutrition. So the researchers figured out a way to give you massive amounts of nutrition, but in very specific timelines until you lose the weight. Well, let's go to a simple example. Look at that. She had 30 pounds to lose. She lost 21 pounds in a month. Hello, that's 5 pounds a week. How many of you would give anything to lose 5 pounds a week? Please give me some love here in the chat. We're at 444 likes. Come on, everybody, let's tap on that screen. I see a lot of people on here. This is the solution to obesity, weight loss, and our health. Do you know we have kids as young as 2 doing this? We have a lady 91 years old. We have people with no thyroids, let alone Hashimoto's or goiter or hyperthyroidism. And we're not treating, curing, diagnosing, or preventing any medical disease. But people go on this and they just are better. It makes sense. You're simply able to give yourself massive amounts of nutrition in less food. Look, the more nutrition you can get in the least amount of food, the healthier you're going to be. It'd be like your car. If you had 2 pumps, pump number 1 is the organic food you're getting now. It says that'll take you 20 miles on 1 gallon. Pump number 2 are these exotic foods from around the world, from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand, that don't exist in the United States. And that says that gallon will take you 100 miles. That's what this is, if that can make sense to everybody. I'd love for anybody to tell me a diet. It's not a diet, the Fit Gardener. Stop. No dieting. No counting calories. Get that? See, that's our problem. We're all so brainwashed. Diet. Take the T off diet, number 1. Let's just start with that. But you have to understand, as far as diets go, after 40 years of research, 100 studies, the researchers who created this were the top weight loss researchers in the world. They said no diet has ever worked long-term by counting calories. It's total nonsense. So when they invented this, the Fit Gardener, there was only one criteria, and that was we want to give you maximum amount of food in the least amount of food possible. Because it has nothing to do with the quantity of food you're consuming. To control your weight or be healthy, it's the amount of nutrition that you need in order to run all your organs. Your organs don't run on calories. Does anyone want to give me the definition of a calorie? Everything's organic, of course, but you've got to understand, Jen, the organic in North America, I'll give you an example. Let's take spinach. Cornell University did a study on spinach from 1957, the iron levels in spinach compared to 2000. Those iron levels in spinach have decreased, according to Cornell University, not my opinion, by 4,300%. So don't fool yourself to think you're going to eat organic and all of a sudden you have this magic formula. There were 200 studies done on organic showing it was about 10 to 15% more nutritious than regular food. It had less pollutions in it, and that's why I eat it. But not because it has this massive amount of nutrition. Hell, they went around the world. They went to Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand to find these foods with huge amounts of nutrition. No herbicides, no pesticides, no tampering with the natural, what was happening. And the nutrients that exist in some of these countries aren't available in North America. This is revolutionary. It's totally different. What is it, Ziggy? The problem is falling off the wagon and stop counting calories. That's when Okay, first of all, Ziggy, in this, we forbid you from counting calories, not us, the researchers. No counting calories, Ziggy. It has never had anything to do with counting calories. As a matter of fact, Ziggy, give me the definition of a calorie. What is a calorie? Do you know what a calorie is? If you don't know what a calorie is, the medical definition, why are you counting calories? Because guess who can't count calories, Ziggy? Your body. No, the reason you fall off the wagon is your hunger is driven by only one thing: lack of nutrition. Period. For all of you, that's it. Your body's not hungry for a calorie. It doesn't even know what a calorie is. Do you see the insanity, or is it just me? And I'm just this crazy, mad, possessed scientist. Listen, this protocol is published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world. You cannot show me another diet that's published in one journal. Or if there are studies on multiple diets, the results are so pitiful, it's disgusting. Here's a 12-month study on pretty much comparison of weight loss among named diet programs. They looked at 48 trials, 7,286 people in 12 months. And they named all the major diets: paleo, keto, Mediterranean, time-restricted eating, macro counting, Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, Nutrisystem, paleo, keto. What didn't matter. After a year, from the most amount of weight loss to the least amount of weight loss in a year across all these diets and over 7,000 people, the only difference in weight loss in a year was 10 ounces from the most to the least. And the weight loss in a year was 16 pounds in a year. She lost 21 pounds in a month. You think this is a diet? It's not. It's a detox. I'm going to explain it to all of you now because I know we got a lot of new people on here that want to know about this. Okay. So, what do these researchers do? I mean, let me ask, can I get some comments? If you could lose 5 pounds a week, please put it in the chat, everybody. How blown away would you be? Ziggy, how motivated would you be to lose 5 pounds a week and have no hunger? They know in the studies, they proved in less than a week, people's cravings went away. In a month, hunger came down 41%, which makes sense. You never were hungry for calories. It was never about restriction. This whole diet mentality is done, over, finished, dead. I didn't invent it. But thank God these researchers, they did 100 studies over 40 years and determined no diet ever caused weight loss that people could keep off. And 25 to 40% of what they were losing was lean muscle mass. She lost no water weight and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle. Look at her stomach, how much it shrank. That's because of the detox. I'm going to explain all that to you in just a moment. The amount of heat energy raised to require the temp of 1 gram of water. But perfect, the fit gardener. You're honest to God, fit gardener. You're one of 10 people in a year. Do you all read that, everybody? That's all a calorie is. It's the amount. It's actually the amount of heat, but heat energy. Okay, you did say that correctly. Heat energy required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water 1 degree Celsius. Your body doesn't know to have anything to do with that. You understand? It's just a measurement. Why are you all? We're brainwashed. Brainwashed. It's just the most ridiculous thing on the planet, counting calories. Why don't you count sheep or look at license plates as cars drive by your house? I mean, it's just ridiculous. But I get these people coming in all the time telling me, well, it's about calorie deficit. Really? Have you ever heard of Harvard Medical School, everybody? Kind of a prestigious place, right? Listen to this. Stop counting. This is the study. Stop counting calories. We've all been taught that losing weight is a matter of simple math. Cut calories 3,500, you lose about a pound. But as it turns out, experts are learning that this decades-old strategy is totally misguided. This is Harvard Medical School. They went on to say the concept, the idea of a calorie in, calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not only antiquated, it's just wrong, says Fatima Stanford, obesity specialist, Harvard Medical School. Drop the calories notion, Stanford said. It's time to concentrate on what's in our food, not how much food we're consuming. That's exactly what these researchers did, and they have nothing to do with Harvard Medical School. I mean, listen, if we're not lying to you, are you trying to tell me you have any diet that would match up to this? Basically, 5 pounds a week, no loss of water, and gaining 6 to 9% lean muscle, and no one was allowed to exercise? Or, I showed you. That's my friend's daughter, 60 pounds in 3 months. Let that sink in. That's 5 pounds per week for 3 straight months. And she got to her goals. Look at her arms, face, body. Where's the loose skin, everybody? What's so sad is people won't even hang around to find out the solution. They think I'm making things up. They're going to go back to counting calories. I feel sorry for them. Any of you that are sticking it out now, you're going to learn exactly what they did and how they did it. We offer, listen, right above our head in blue, everybody, Ziggy and everybody else, that's a free medical website where you can go. There's nothing on there to buy. The only thing on there is the medical proof. And then if you like what you see, look, want a free consultation? The coaching's free the whole time, including the consultation. Why wouldn't you go there? Unless you think I'm lying, unless you think that's Photoshopped. If that's not Photoshopped, how could you not go there, Ziggy, or anybody else? How do we detox properly? I'm going to explain it to you. Oh, really, Jacine? He's lying? What would I be lying about? See, Jacine, please don't say something that's so idiotic. This, what I'm talking about, is backed by 10. It's published in the biggest medical journals in the world. So if I'm lying, that means that people like the Obesity Journal, Frontiers in Physiology, Nutrients, Nutrition Journal, Frontiers in Nutrition, and Nature Communications, which is the #1 medical journal in the world. Why would you say something so stupid? That's just stupid to say that he's lying. You have no evidence of that, and all the evidence I'm presenting is from peer-reviewed human trial studies, which is irrefutable medical evidence, not some opinion of yours. So it's frightening how people are so ridiculous because they can't come back against peer-reviewed human trial medical studies. I mean, does anyone, Fritz or anybody, do you see how crazy that is? Okay, now everybody's anxious to find out. Okay, so here's what they did. The researchers said, we're going to do something totally different. No counting calories at all. No counting calories, right? So what they did, they said, the researchers, we're going to pick foods with one criteria, massive, big amounts of nutrition. The idea would be, can we give you less food with more nutrition? That was kind of the downside. So here's what they did. They put a grocery list together for her, for you, for everybody, but only 30% of the food she actually consumed, let's say last month, whatever food you bought, only 30% of what you spent last month, you'd spend this month at the grocery store. And they give you a list. You actually have a list and the names of proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. No calorie counting, only serving sizes. You got that, everybody? And you get a list. Like I said, it's right there. It's a long list of proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, vegetables, etc. But instead of calorie counts, they're giving you serving sizes. But here's what separates it from everything else and why it works. The other 70% of what you would spend doesn't come from the United States, doesn't come from North America. It comes from other researchers who had gone around the world for 20 years to places like Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand. And they brought back these foods with huge amounts of nutrition and nutrients that don't even exist in North America. Like some of the nutrients that come from Mongolia, massively lower stress in your body. Some of the ingredients that come from the Himalayas, lower inflammation in your body. So now they had the two food groups, right? They had 30% from North American foods. You get a grocery list of those foods, and then these other exotic foods around the world. Then they created a new way of eating called protein pacing. See, instead of lying, it's like, listen, the U.S. Patent Office granted them a registered trademark of a new way of eating. Hardly lying. U.S. Patent Office, okay? Let's start with that. And what they did, they figured out that what mattered the most was the timing, the amounts, and the timing of when you ate. So 5 days a week, she had 4 meals a day. She started with these exotic foods around the world that you can't buy at your grocery store. Lunch from the grocery store list, dinner from the grocery store list, and a fourth meal after dinner from these exotic foods around the world. Now, someone's asking, how do you detox? So let's back up for just a moment. You all should know that last night when you went to sleep, as long as you didn't eat too late, once you went to sleep, your body slows down your digestion and it automatically turns on a natural detox mechanism built into all of us. It's called autophagy. It sounds like a fancy word. It simply means that's when your body is detoxing by removing the dead cells out of your body. It happens every night. It's not up for debate. It's known. You can Google it, okay? Well, what the researchers figured out, they said, we think we can duplicate this when people are awake. And they did it by 2 days a week. She did something called intermittent nutritional fasting, not fasting, water fasting, or time-restricted eating. On those days, no food from the grocery store, only these exotic foods around the world. But this time, she ate 8 times a day. She was literally eating every hour and a half. And what happened was, the body, because these nutrient foods are so efficient, it evolved very little digestive energy to work, and the body began the autophagy process. Now, it's not a claim. They measured blood, stool, urine, and fat and proved that this was removing chemicals from the body. So literally you were creating autophagy when you wake. No diet's ever done anything like this. So again, back to lying, that we have medical proof. So don't, before you throw around a word like lying, have some validity behind it. It's total nonsense. And then we look around America. If I'm lying, 86% of Americans are going to be overweight in 4 years. So I think we got a problem, and maybe we should listen to new science, which is only backed by science. Listen, to get published in the biggest medical journals in the world, what they do is they scrutinize you. They prove or disprove what you're claiming. It's proven. It's proven. So then what else did they find out? Well, first of all, the people in those days when they were doing intermittent nutritional fasting, no one was hungry. Diabetics, no one had insulin spikes. In a month's time, in a week, people's cravings went away, Ziggy, as I was telling you. In a month's time, people's hunger came down 41%. And what also happened, I'll read you the list of positive things. They had a fat was down 11%. People increased their lean muscle mass 6 to 9% with no exercise, increased their lean muscle mass. Blood sugar went down 6.2%. The need for insulin went down 41% in a month. That's never been seen before, ever. The diabetics monitored by their doctors cut their meds by 50% in a month. Cholesterol was down 15%, LDL down 13%, triglycerides came down 25 to 40%. Now, again, if you're a diabetic, look at this, an older guy in his 60s, 40 pounds in a month, 52 inches. But look at his A1C, 8.4 to 6.4. Talk to diabetics about dropping your A1C that much in 30 days with no exercise. And he lost 40 pounds. Hello? I mean, again, unless you think we are lying or making things up, which we're not, we don't have to. We don't have to, because we have the only, right there, I'm going to show you right now, the website. You all can go to it. Type in the New Health Conversation. Watch this, everybody. It's going to take you in Google to the link. It'll be there in just a second. There's nothing to buy on that website. So click on the New Health Conversation. There's the website. The only thing on there is the medical proof, including number one is an exclusive podcast with the number one weight loss nutrition physiologist in the entire world. They have no products to sell. They don't have a company. They don't sell anything. They're the scientists who created this. Look at number three. You actually get to see the medical studies. You see, I can't lie. There's nothing to make up. The medical studies are the medical studies, and the science is the science. It has no emotions. It has no opinions. It certainly has no prejudice. So for someone to say I'm lying, it's like, what? What planet are you living on? Do all of you understand this? Am I making sense? Yeah, but calories. Okay, so anyway, Ziggy. I just explained that. Okay, so Jason next. I'm just waiting for an example of the foods I did that. No, Ziggy, it's not intermittent fasting. You weren't listening. It's intermittent nutritional fasting. It's fasting with nutrition. Does that make sense now? Maybe I did cover it, and maybe I spoke too fast. But Ziggy, it's not intermittent fasting. That doesn't work. It's never worked. It's again one of those ridiculous things that you've been told that time-restricted eating somehow it works. Let me read to you, Ziggy, about the results of intermittent fasting, this time-restricted eating. Everyone, this is a 3-month study, the Journal of the American Medical Association. So, Ziggy, here's the effectiveness of intermittent fasting. Our researchers at the Journal of the American Medical Association found that overweight adults who were assigned to routinely fast 16 hours a day over the course of 3 months gained almost no benefit from it. Over the course of those 3 months, they lost an average of 2 to 3.5 pounds, and most of the weight they shed was lean muscle mass. Ziggy, you want to lose 2 to 3 pounds over 3 months, or how would you like to lose 20 pounds in a month? And this is safe. They lost 25 to 40% of the pounds they were losing was lean muscle. This is a medical study. It's not my opinion. I can't lie about medical studies. I mean, people are just ridiculous. Ridiculous. So, Ziggy, does that make sense? Chen, does that make sense to you? All of this, is it making sense? It's all about the detox. You realize inflammation came down 25% in a month. That's never been seen on any diet ever. No diet has ever shown removing a gram of toxins from the body. Now, again, let's talk about another big study here. You've all heard, hopefully, of Medicare. Medicare? They just concluded a big study. Listen to this. Medicare's search for effective obesity treatments. Diets are not the answer. That's Medicare, not me saying that. So hardly from lying. I'm just reading from the medical study. Our researchers at Medicare reviewed the long-term outcomes of calorie-restricted diets to assess whether dieting is an effective treatment for obesity. The researchers found that 2/3 of dieters regained more weight than they lost on any diet. In summary, there's little support for the notion that diets lead to lasting weight loss or health benefits. That's what you're all doing. 2/3 are going to end up more. This Medicare telling you that. It's not me. They're trying to bring healthcare costs down. So, again, before someone would accuse me of lying, I mean, is Medicare lying? Is the New England Journal of Medicine lying? Is this huge study why you shouldn't count calories? While counting calories and restricting calories can help you lose weight in the short run, the approach has never been proven to keep weight off long term. What's even worse, 2/3 of people who try to count and restrict calories gain back more weight than they lost. Counting calories increases chronic psychological stress and cortisol production, 2 factors that are known to cause weight gain. They're all saying the same thing, that these diets you're on is to gain weight. Congratulations. None of this is my opinion. And yet I get accused of all these things. You don't know what you're talking about. Really? Well, somehow I wrote 4 best-selling books, some of the biggest medical doctors in the world. I appeared 20 times on public broadcasting. I was interviewed on the 4 biggest daytime shows in America and did over 1,500 live lectures around the world in towns and universities. Hell, they flew me to China. I was a keynote at Autism One in Chicago, the largest autism conference in the world. I think they thought I had some credibility. Lying. Why would I don't need to lie when I have peer-reviewed human trial studies that you all can go see for free at the New Health Conversation. Jen Fitz, what do you mean? I just told you. Fats, proteins, carbs, fruits, and vegetables, 30% of what you're going to eat. What do you mean I didn't tell you? Well, I just explained that to you. And the others are these nutrients that come from around the world. That they're some of them you make as a soup or you make it in a tea. They're nutrients. I mean, they're massive amounts of nutrients. It's not cabbage or kale. You get that with your regular food. These are the nutrients that people that are living to be 100 years old are taking from these blue zones, for example. So not everybody eats like we do in the United States, right? So they're not, cooking on the Barbie for my friends in Australia. Jen, you get all that. The coaches will go over all that with you. It's completely different than anything you're thinking about. There's none of these foods from these exotic locations that you can buy in North America. One of the ingredients, like I said, it comes from the Himalayas in Tibet. You mix it with water. The Sherpas have been taking it for centuries. How come they can climb Mount Everest without oxygen, for example? We're not trying to hide anything from you. We're not selling you anything. We have nothing to sell. You're buying either from your grocery store or from those suppliers who's, by the way, Jen, you should know, all of you should know, the 70% of what you're going to spend you buy from these exotic food, the researchers, they'll give you 100% of your money back in the first month. Jen, show me anything like that on the planet. 100%, no questions asked, money back guarantee on that 70% of what you're going to spend in a month. Now, nothing's 100%, of course, but you think they do that if this doesn't work? But the other thing you got to go in for us, Jen, it's published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world. Do you understand? You probably do, but a peer-reviewed human trial study, there's nothing higher in medical examination, like no drug ever gets approved unless it goes through this examination in these huge, like the New England Journal of Medicine, or in this case, the Obesity Journal, or in this case, Nature Communications, which is considered probably the number 1 or 2 medical journal in the world. And that study, Jen, that they did, by the way, in Nature Communications, had nothing to do with weight loss. It was gut microbiome remodeling and metabolic profile improves drastically in response to protein pacing and intermittent nutritional fasting. This wasn't anything to do about dieting or losing weight. The reason to do this is not to lose weight. That's like a gimmick. That's like a throw-in for us. You should see what happens when athletes do this. Because in their case, the only reason they didn't want to exercise was they didn't want exercise to be an outlier. Otherwise, you say, well, they lost weight because it was diet and exercise. No, it wasn't. They did no exercise at all. Does that make sense? No. You're ordering no fruits and vegetables from other countries, Jen. No. The proteins, the fats, the carbs, the fruits, and the vegetables come from the United States. These other items, again, they're nutrients. They're nutrients. They're not supplements. They're nutrients that you mix. You make it as a soup. You make it as a tea. You make it, etc. No. So I'm glad you asked that question. No, you don't understand. I wouldn't expect you to. No one had ever seen anything like this. Jen, just let me ask you this. If this is not, no, it's not supplements. I just explained it to you. No, it's not. But Jen, if I'm not lying to you, if that picture is real, have you ever seen anything like that where you can lose 5 pounds a week and lose no water weight and gain 6 to 9% lean muscle mass in a month? But also, Jen, you have to understand, it's validated, it's published. Everything I'm showing you is proven medically and validated in these huge medical studies. I don't know what more we can do than that. And you can go to the website for free and see an interview with the number 1 weight loss nutrition physiologist in the world. They have no products. They don't have a company. They don't sell anything. They discovered this. I mean, I don't know what more I can do than that. I can't overcome your skepticism. I get it. But why would you at least go check out the website? It's free, and we won't contact you, Jen, if you go there. Go look at the medical proof, and then you decide yourself. If you want, then you can get a free coach. And the coaching's free the whole time. That's the best I can do. Will you please update us as what this weight loss where you shed fat in inches program is for those with. So Bloom, Shika Bloom. Okay, I'm going to explain to you how they did this, okay? So Jen, did that answer your question? I'm sorry if I'm not totally able to answer. But Jen, that's why you get a coach for free if you want. But you don't have to do anything. If you go to the website, we're not going to contact you, okay? But now, Bloom, let me answer your question. So what you're looking at, so first of all, Bloom, let me ask you a question. We just recently joined this conversation. Will you please update us, bring us up to speed? I'm going to do it right now, I promise. But can I ask you a question, Bloom? If you wanted to lose 20 pounds based on the best diet you've been on, et cetera, how long would you give yourself? Can you give me an answer to that? I'm going to explain to you what she did, but I'm just curious as to what you've tried before and how long it took you to lose 20 pounds. The first thing I can tell you about this, Bloom, it's not a diet. As a matter of fact, you're basically forbidden from counting calories. It was invented by the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. It is not a diet. It is a detox. Let's just get that, and I'll explain all that to you in a moment. So what the researchers had done is that they had done 100 studies on human beings over 40 years. Pretty much every kind of diet you could imagine, from keto to paleo to Mediterranean to fasting to you name it, right? And what they found after 40 years and 100 studies, no diet ever worked long term. If you don't believe me, from 1995 to 2025 in the United States, the obesity rates have doubled. Do you know how many more diets we have in 2025 than we had in 1995? Go to Barnes & Noble and you'll see. So the researchers said we have to abandon, because what we're doing, counting calories, is not working, clearly. So they said the problem with the diet that they never tell you is, when basically a diet's reducing the amount of food you're consuming, and what are you also reducing? Nutrition. So the researchers said, we're going to do something different. We want to find foods where we can give you less food by bulk, but increase the amount of nutrition. So they picked out a food list that you would get, Bloom. You actually would get a list of proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables that you would buy from your local grocery store. Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, Sprouts, all organic from sources from the United States, where my other person was thinking that those came from around the world and they would spoil. No foods like that from these other exotic locations. So anyway, Bloom. So 30% of what you spent last month on food, that's all you're going to spend this month at the grocery store, because they're going to give you not calorie amounts, serving sizes. Very important. Those serving sizes were based on one principle: large amounts of nutrition in the least amount of food, but only 30%. The other 70% of what you spent last month on groceries would go to these other researchers. The researchers who created this, they have no product. There is no product to buy, by the way. This is all food. The researchers who created this, they don't sell anything. They don't have a company, period. But these other researchers had gone around the world for 20 years to places like Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand, to find these nutrients. Not cabbage and spinach and kale and carrots and things you're used to. These were nutrients that the people, for the most part, made maybe as a soup or as a tea, or maybe they just made it with water, or they just took it. But not supplements. Nothing to do with supplements, okay? So you had 30% of the food from your local grocery store and 70% from these exotic foods around the world. Now, by having these high levels of nutrition, they were able to create one new way of eating, where they got a registered trademark, U.S. Patent Office, called protein pacing. It's a trademark by the U.S. Patent Office. That's how much they thought about this. So what happened is five days a week, she was eating 4 times a day. She started with these exotic foods in the morning. That was breakfast. Lunch from the grocery store list, dinner from the grocery store list, and a 4th meal after dinner, these exotic foods around the world. I mean, think about it. You ever been on a diet where you could have 4 meals a day? I don't think so. Now, that was 5 days a week, 4 meals a day. 2 days a week, she did something, don't spin out of control, because it's not what you think. She did intermittent nutritional fasting, but not fasting or water fasting or time-restricted eating. On those days, no food from the grocery store, only these exotic foods from around the world. But this time, she ate 8 times a day. She was eating every hour and a half to 2 hours. The diabetics on this, no one had insulin spikes. In a month's time, listen to this. Number one, you see she lost 21 pounds at 38 inches a month. She lost no water weight, and she gained 6 to 9% lean muscle. Now the detox, look at her stomach on day 1, look at her day on 30. I'm going to explain to you what's going on. We're living in an unbelievably toxic world. We're drinking, breathing, eating chemicals. And as they enter our body, we're stuffing them inside our fat cells. This new medical syndrome you and me and everybody on the planet has, the T is for the toxins, the chemicals being embedded in our fat cells. The D is for the deficiency of our food in North America. O for being overweight, and S is for stress. I have TDOS, you have TDOS, everybody. Well, the researchers did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, proving this was assisting the body in removing the chemicals from our fat cells. See, when you ingest these chemicals, the body's taking that chemical and stuff it in your fat cells, and your fat cells expand. Don't let anybody ever tell you burn fat on a diet or exercise. It's just a lie. You're born with a certain number of fat cells, you die with a certain number of fat cells, and over your lifetime they can expand or contract. And most of you tell us that they're not just unhappy about how much weight they've gained, but how much fat they have in their body. But yet your body's trying to protect you from the very chemicals that are part of our world now. If you don't believe me, Google microplastics in your brain. From 2 months ago, they're now finding microplastics in our brain and in our coronary arteries, along with what else? Herbicides and pesticides and Scotchgard and Teflon in our fat cells. These researchers proved this was a detox. No diet has ever touched this. Second thing. So you think the weight loss is the big deal. It's actually the fourth most important thing. The second most important thing, they measured inflammation, which we all suffer from. It went down 25% in a month. No one's ever seen anything like that. Diabetics, their need for insulin went down 41% in a month, and most of the diabetics who were on medication, their doctors had to cut their meds by 50% in 30 days. The next thing that's important is maintenance. This picture is 8 or 9 years old. They've kept it off for 8 or 9 years. I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks, 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. That's what should excite everybody. So it's completely sustainable. And then what's maintenance? Simple. Each morning, like this morning, my meal was these exotic foods around the world. I had a lunch, and then I'm going to have lunch today and then dinner tonight. And then maybe every couple months I do another 48-hour intermittent nutritional fast, not to lose weight, but to help to detox my body. The number one reason to do this is detoxification. It's almost like the weight is the booby prize. But when you look at things like this, my friend's daughter, 60 pounds in 3 months. 60. Look at her arms. Look at her waist. Look at this, everybody. And then you talk about diabetics. This is a 65-year-old guy, 40 pounds and 52 inches in a month. But look at his A1C. Went from 8.4 to 6.4. His triglycerides from 242 to 124. This is medical proof. Are you kidding me? Who else has this? Nobody. So Bloom Chica, does that make sense now? Do you understand? Yes, I guess I'll go look at the website. Absolutely. It definitely sounds sustainable, Bloom. So Bloom, you understand you want to go to, you see that in blue above her head, the new health conversation. So what you can do is go to Google for all of you, including you, Gene, and type in the new health conversation. And it'll take you into the link on Google. There is the new health conversation. You click on it. There's the website. There's nothing to buy on that website. Number one is an exclusive podcast with the world's number one weight loss nutrition physiologist in the world. He and his team created this, and they have no products to sell. Number three, the actual physical medical studies that you can see. You just click on the link, it'll take you to the studies. From countries, dementia doesn't exist. Exactly, Bloom Chica. Well, Bloom Chica, the thing that I would say to you is go and look. See it there, Bloom Chica, free coaching. That's not a joke. We coached the whole time. We were coached. We had no idea how to do this. No one did. I mean, this is the top people in the world. The top. I mean, if you all understand what Bloom Chica Bloom, do you understand what a peer-reviewed human trial study is? Why they're so significant, and why do none of these other people telling you to lose weight have peer-reviewed human trial studies? You know why? Because the claims they're making would be shown as the hoax they are. Hoaxes. I mean, here's a big study. Let me just read the headline. They did a compilation of diets and looked at their results. The title was The Grand Myth of Traditional Diets, a Devastating Cycle of Failure and False Promises. Traditional diets, be they low-fat, low-carb, keto, carnivore, macrocarnivore obsessions, or this latest fad, time-restricted eating, seduce millions with vows of dramatic weight loss and radiant health. But the brutal truth, etched in decades of unyielding scientific evidence, shatters this illusion. These diets deliver fleeting illusions of progress, followed by inevitable weight gain and negligible long-term medical benefits, and the hidden toll of the loss of 25 to 40% of your precious lean muscle, slowing down your metabolism and your own immune system. I'm going to read to you the synopsis. 12 months, these researchers looked at all the diet groups. They looked at low fat, low carb, keto, carnivore, macro counting, and time restricted eating. Over 12 months, the diet where you lost the least amount of weight loss in 12 months was 11 pounds in a year. That's less than a pound a month. The most anybody lost was 16 pounds in a year. That's a pound and a quarter a month. But every one, they said, of the weight people lost, they measured 25 to 40% was lean muscle mass. Does that sound to you like something you'd want to do? Yes, you're going to lose weight on any of these diets, but who's telling you the truth? That 25 to 40% of everything you're losing is your lean muscle mass, which slows down your metabolism. That's why 2/3 of you are going to gain back more weight than you lost. Does that sound like something you want to do? Does it? People get mad at me. They call me names, like someone earlier was calling me a liar. If any of you, yes, I've had a master's degree and have to keep abreast of current trends through academic journals. Okay, so Bloom, would you agree? You don't have to. But someone calling me a liar when I'm simply, and I physically have I have the medical journals in my hand, and everything I'm showing you is validated in the medical journals. How could I be lying? Could you tell me, Bloom? Bloom, do you think I'm lying? Do you think we faked that picture? Do you think we're that dishonest? Do you think I've done over 1,000 podcasts now on TikTok in the last year? Because I do 3 to 5 a day, 7 days a week. You do the math. I mean, it's so outrageous that people make this stuff up. I've spent 23 years of my life being a nutritional researcher. I wrote 4 best-selling books to some of the biggest medical doctors in the world. I've appeared 20 times on public broadcasting. I did 1,500. I've spoken in universities and hospitals and towns. They even flew me to China. I think if I was lying, I think probably I would have been outed a long time ago. I just find it sad, really sad, because someone giving an opinion like that may dissuade someone else who's already skeptical. Well, this guy's full of it. It's BS. Nothing that I'm sharing with you is right. Kitties, good, Kitties. Thank you for saying that. It really makes me feel good, because you understand, Kitties, I'm here for you guys, men and women. And if I might share something with you that's very personal, my own mother was morbidly obese my whole life. I never knew her thin. I never knew her healthy, but it didn't mean I didn't love her. Her name was Grace. She was amazing. And 24 years ago, before I became a researcher, my mom called me up one day and she said, you know, Peter, I have one really big wish in my life. I said, Mom, what's that? She said, I would give anything if I could spend one day thin. I said, wow, Mom, that's cool. Well, 6 months later, massive heart attack and stroke. I hate diets, to be honest with you. I believe my mom dieted herself to death. She did about every diet there was, from the grapefruit diet to the cabbage soup diet to following Oprah to going to Weight Watchers, you name it. I'd see her lose 20 pounds and gain 25 back. At the end, she was on so many pills, she had to have a chart to keep track of water pills and blood pressure pills and sugar diabetes. I mean, it was really sad. So the fact that I can share with you real medical proof that could make a difference in your life that I couldn't do in my mom's, a pretty big motivator. So when people, which they do, they call me a lot worse names than liar, believe me. But again, I just rely on the science. Wow, Bloom, Chicka, wow. So what do I do? Brooke, I'm going to explain it to you in a moment. But so cat's eyes, does that make sense now? You understand, all of you, why I'm so passionate about this and why the detractors, they're just detractors. They don't have any proof. They're calling me names with no substance behind it. They have no idea about my background and what I've done. I've worked with some of the top medical doctors and oncologists and molecular biologists. Hell, one of my friends is the geneticist who discovered the gene that causes aging. My other colleague, who's one of the top oncologists in the world, who we wrote, this is our most famous book right here, and we don't sell books, by the way, but you see this book, Your Third Brain? I wrote it with the top oncologist in the world, who's also a molecular biologist, who also worked with 2 men who won the Nobel Prize in medicine. I don't think people like that would be hanging around with me if I was lying. All I can do is laugh it off. What, should I get upset? I mean, people are entitled to whatever crazy opinions they have, but it's not based in fact. And Bloom Chicka, you would know that a peer-reviewed human trial study, that's the end of the line. It's irrefutable medical proof. So, Brooks, let's talk about what she did. So first, it's important, Brooke, that you understand this was not invented by me. I'm a nutritional researcher for 23 years. It was invented by what's considered the top weight loss nutrition physiologist in the entire world, voted #1. And they had done 100 studies over 40 years. Well, Bloom, I don't have time on this call. You can do that when you, it's called telomerase. Just, you can go look it up, telomerase, okay? That's the gene that causes aging, right? So that's the secret. Go look it up, right? But anyway, back to you for a moment, Brooke. So the researchers, the reason that they created this, because they did 100 studies over 40 years, thousands of people, and they never found a diet where people lost weight and kept it off. And I don't know what cycle in the diet cycle you're in, if you've already tried it and you've lost weight and gained it back, okay? So the researchers said there's a fundamental flaw on every diet that they ever studied, and that was always based on counting calories. Calories in, calories out. They never saw one that ever worked long term. So they said, we need to do something different, because the body, I don't know if you know this or not, I think it was Fitz, so I got somebody to give me the definition of a calorie. She's one of 10 people in a year that's ever gotten the medical definition of a calorie. And yet you're counting calories and the body has no idea what a calorie is. So the research said the only thing that matters to your body is not calories, but nutrition. So they set out to they wanted to do this. Can we give you less food, but specifically pick foods with the highest level of nutrition? That's what they did. So imagine last month's grocery list, whatever you spent, you're only going to spend 30% this month at the grocery store, and you're going to get a list of proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. But instead of giving you calorie amounts, you're going to get serving sizes. Now, don't panic about that, thinking you're going to be hungry, because your hungry has nothing to do with the quantity of food you're consuming. Your hunger has nothing to do with calories. It only has to do with how much nutrition. So they calculated this amount of food would give you enough nutrition, coupled with the fact that the other 70% of the food, this is really what made it work, didn't come from the United States. It came from other researchers who'd gone around the world for 20 years, to Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand, to find nutrients that were huge amounts, but in very small quantities that you would consume. Right? So 30% of the food you would buy from the grocery store, 70% from, and by the way, you're probably going to spend about what you spent last month. And by the way, you need no supplements unless you're on a doctor's prescription for low iron or like calcium deficiency or something. This is not a capsule. There's no products. There's no. This is food and nutrients. Okay. So now they had what you would be consuming, and then based on this new model of massive amounts of nutrition, they created a new way of eating where they let her 5 days a week, 4 meals a day. Yep. She started with what the researchers have called the world's most perfect meals from a nutritional standpoint, and that's all we should care about. That's breakfast, which I had this morning. Lunch from the grocery store, dinner from the grocery store, and a 4th meal after dinner, the world's most perfect meal. You got to tell everybody? So 5 days a week, you're having 4 meals a day, lunch and dinner from your grocery store list that you would get for free, tell you what to buy, and the serving sizes, okay? Then 2 days a week, now here's what really makes it work. 2 days a week, you do something called intermittent nutritional fasting, but not fasting, not water fasting, not time restricted eating. Those days, absolutely no food from the grocery store, only the world's most perfect meals, but this time she ate 8 times a day. Yep, she ate every hour and a half to 2 hours. The diabetics on this, no one had insulin spikes. In a month's time, now listen, here's the secret. Okay, you ready for the secret, Brooke? It's not a diet. You know what it is? A detox. Now, how can I say that? Because the researchers did blood, stool, urine, fat, well, muscle, enzyme, but those 4, blood, stool, urine, and fat, they proved that this was assisting the body in removing the chemicals that we're all storing inside of ourselves. Now let's go one step farther on that. You and me and everybody suffer from this new medical syndrome. It's called TDOS. The T is for toxins that we're storing in our fat cells. I'll explain that in a moment. Because of the deficiency in the nutrition in our food, our body doesn't have the capability on its own, if you use regular food, to help get rid of the toxins, causing us to be overweight and stressed. It's a registered trademark, U.S. Patent Office. Peter Greenlaw, who's that? Oh, that's me. But I guess I'm lying about this, and the U.S. Patent Office gave me the registered trademark anyway. See, that's what's so silly. I've got the ammunition to back myself up. Okay, so the number one thing is detox. Number two, this lowered, listen to this, Brooke, inflammation, which is the underlying cause of every disease out there, came down 25% in 30 days. Never seen before. No diets reduced inflammation a skosh. Number three, they also proved that instead of losing water or lean muscle, she gained 6 to 9% lean muscle with no exercise. The other thing that's so great about this is maintenance. That picture's 8 or 9 years old. She's kept the weight up for 8 or 9 years. Brooke, I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks 23 years ago. I've maintained it for 23 years. Now, I was going to explain to you about the fat and whatever. So most of you, I'm not saying you, Brooke, because I don't know you. I have no idea if you agree with this. But most people are complaining to us. It's not just how much weight they've gained, but the amount of fat. And here's the thing, Brooke. Don't let anybody ever tell you a diet or exercise burns fat. Complete and utter lie. We're born with a certain number of fat cells. We die with a certain number of fat cells, and the fat cells expand or contract. Well, sadly, because we're ingesting these chemicals in the water, in the air, in the food, hopefully you believe we are living in a toxic world, and I proved it. I got a registered trademark of this new medical condition. I guess the patent office believes it's going on. When those enter the body takes them to protect us and stuffs them inside our visceral fat. That's the fat around the organs. Look at her stomach on day 1, Brooke. Look at it. And then look at her stomach on day 30. That's with no exercise. That is the result of the body removing the chemicals. And if you look at someone like Julie, look at that, 35 pounds in 37 days. Look at the change in her body composition. No, Marabella, you're not even close. That's nonsense. It's complete. I'm sorry. You don't know. You're speculating. No. I'm very sorry to tell you that's not what it is, okay? So no. You don't understand. It's not about drinking bone broth. You're actually getting nutrition on the days when you're doing, that's why it's called intermittent nutritional fasting. So nice try, but no, you're guessing on something. And again, have you ever seen, okay, so Maribel, you ever seen anything like that? How about 35 pounds in 37 days? Or my friend's daughter, 60 pounds in 3 months. Or this 65-year-old man, 40 pounds in a month. You think you got a diet that's going to do this to anybody? I mean, again, all I'm asking you to do, Marabella, is you get to go if you want. Go look at the medical proof, and you can get a free coach or not. Because if you go to the website, we're not going to contact you. I mean, I appreciate your comment, but it's not right. It's completely wrong, okay? So who else? Actually, this couple of days of fasting and drinking. No, it's not. That's wrong. The type 3 diabetes, I believe, is cured. Well, type 3 diabetes, as you know, is Alzheimer's. You know that's what it is. I would never use the word cure. Can't do that, okay? Does this all get rid of parasites? Yeah. The primary parasite that it gets rid of is candida, which anybody, almost 99% of people who are overweight have big candida infestations, and we have the proof that it not only kills the candida, but also kills the eggs. So depending on the severity of the parasite infestation, it may take more than this, because this primary thing is, they measured herbicides and pesticides and Scotchgard and Teflon coming out of the body. That's a given. We already know that, right? So again, when someone says something like they think it's a fast and you're going to drink bone broth, I'm sorry, there are fasts like that, but not this. This is completely different. That's why on this, she didn't lose lean muscle. She gained 6 to 9% lean muscle. On all these fasts, 25 to 40% beyond 24 hours, they're losing lean muscle mass. It's not up for debate. Here's the proof right here in this one study where they looked at time restricted eating, which is, fast 16 hours, eat for 8. 25 to 40% of what people lost was lean muscle mass. And in 12 months, they lost 10 to 14 pounds in a year. She lost 21 pounds in a month. There's no comparison. And all we're saying to you is, look, be fair to yourselves. Go look at the medical proof. If you like it, you can get a free coach or not. So who else? Let's see. Does this all get rid of parasites? Yes, I spoke to your son. Have the info. Wonderful, Marabella. It's still. No, Marabella, I'm sorry. It's not. It's nutritional fasting. It's an enormous difference because on all of the fasts, 25 to 40% of the weight they're actually losing is lean muscle. On this, they gain 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. So. Still fast, so the kit you have to purchase doesn't. It contains a lot more than a shake, and there's no bone broth. No, there's no bone broth at all. I mean, I think they used bone broth at one point, but now there's no more bone broth. It's a totally different system. I would talk to him again, if you want, okay? See, again, when you say fasting, you have to understand that fasting is primarily deprivation. You're basically getting no nutrition at all. And that's what triggers the starvation mode in your brain and causes your body to turn your muscles into fat. Maribel, it's not up for debate. We have the medical proof. She gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. So anyway, I mean, I don't want to debate with you because it's not like debatable that a fast is complete lack of nutrition. This is fasting with nutrition. And you're eating 4 or 5 different elements during your fasting day. Does that make sense? Kind of, Brooke, but not, yeah, but you have to understand you could never do it with food from North America because our food from North America is already compromised in terms of the amount of nutrition. You're kind of on the right idea, yes. Yes, exactly. But again, what I would encourage you to do, Brooke, is go to the New Health Conversation, talk to a coach, and decide for yourself. But all I would go on, also, Maribella, look at the results. You think a fast has ever done anything like this? Never, never. And all the research says that on all these fasts, 25 to 40% of what they're losing is lean muscle mass. It's not my opinion. I mean, that's what's going on. On this, you're gaining 6 to 9% lean muscle with no exercise? Hello? So who else would like to ask me a question? Wow, I can't believe I already went an hour. So it's now, okay. So I'm going to go a few more minutes only because of my voice. I try and do 4 or 5 of these a day, and you can tell I get pretty engaged. But if my voice goes out, it kind of shuts down the whole shooting match. So who else would like to ask me a question before I close out this podcast? But all of you are free to go to the New Health Conversation. It's right there. It's free to go there. It's free to go there. And the only thing there is the medical proof. And then if you like what you see, you can get a coach or not. There's no obligation to get a coach. You decide once you see the medical proof if you want to do this. Mirabella, sorry to get the name. I hope you've done this. If you haven't, watch the 60 Minutes That'll Change Your Life with the #1 nutrition researcher in the world. Listen to what he says about this. They're the ones that created it, not me. But they're the #1 weight loss nutrition physiologist in the world. #1. You don't think they've tried fasting? They did 100 studies over 40 years. They've looked at every kind of diet out there. Nothing's ever worked until now. Well, Brooke, again, it's nutritional fasting. You're eating 8 times a day. You're eating every hour and a half. These nutrients, no food from the grocery store at all. And only these nutrients from around the world that are primarily in liquid form, either as a tea or in water or just the nutrient on its own. So you're fasting with nutrition. That's the whole point. But again, that's why I encourage you to go to the website and talk to a coach. It's completely free. And they're not there to sell. There's nothing to sell. You're buying either from the grocery store or from these exotic foods around the world. I would think it'd be at least worth it to go check it out and see. Because if you go to the website, we're not going to contact you. We don't have time to do it. We don't do it. We're not in the business trying to convince people. With all due respect to everybody, that's not what we do. All I know is I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks, 23 years ago, and I've kept it off for 23 years, and this basically saved my life. I mean, when I first started this, my cholesterol was 400, my triglycerides were 300, and I had an 85% chance of a heart attack within 18 months. In 7 weeks, my cholesterol went from 400 to 120, my triglycerides from 300 to 30, I lost 40 pounds. I've kept it off for 23 years, and I'm not here to say that I'm treating, curing, diagnosing. My personal story, that's it. That's my story. I'm not saying it would happen to any of you. We don't make claims. We don't need to. We let the science speak for itself. So it's 2 days a week until you lose your weight, Brooke. You do a 48-hour intermittent nutritional fasting. And on those days, you're eating 8 times a day, about every hour and a half to 2 hours, over 12 or 16 hours. That's what you're doing. But you're not fasting as you would know it. You're fasting with nutrition. If you tried to do this with regular food, it would never work. Because the problem is our food is so lacking in nutrition that the amount of food you'd have to eat to supply enough nutrition for the brain to have enough fuel to run itself, you wouldn't lose any, you wouldn't detox. Because you have to all but suspend digestion in order for the body to detox naturally, which happens every single night, Brooke, when you went to sleep. It's called autophagy. Maybe you probably already know that. Most people don't, though. So who else? So does that make sense now, Brooke? Oh, I see. Good. But again, Brooke, the idea of getting a coach, they can, because here's the thing, Brooke, we have kids as young as 2 doing this. We have a lady 91 years old. We have people with no thyroids. We have a man with a heart transplant. We have people with kidney transplant. We have people with no gallbladders. And we're not treating, curing, diagnosing, or preventing any medical diseases. All we're doing is we're relying on these published 10 peer-reviewed. Plus, another thing, to let you know it's not a fake. This is June 9th this year, 2025, cover of Women's World magazine, the #1 women's magazine in the world. The 2 women on there, I coached them. The daughter is a nurse, 57 years old, 50 pounds in 3 months. The mom, who's 80, lost 102 pounds in a little over a year, and they both kept it off for 3 years. This is the cover of the #1 women's magazine in the world. You think they'd put this on the cover if it was fake and it didn't work? No, they're there to help their readers, and they did a big story on it inside the magazine. Oh, here it is. I always have trouble finding the article. Here we go. Oops, sorry. There's the article. You can get it online. It's not available in the newsstand anymore. June 9th, 2025. The new protein miracle diet. That's the #1. Now, why would they do that? Because this is the only protocol in the world with 10 peer-reviewed. They're claiming and validating it's a miracle. That's their words, not the researchers. I had nothing to do with this. It's not my research. We're just bringing it to you for free. If you go to the New Health Conversation, all the medical proof is there, including the interview with the #1 person in the whole world. So would anybody else like to ask me a question before I close this out? Katis, hopefully that makes sense, and thank you for saying that you believe me, that there's no reason for me to make this stuff up. So would anybody else like to ask me a question? All right, everybody, I'm going to close this one out. So it's now, let's see, it's 10:18 on the East Coast. I think I'll probably come back on about 11:30 East Coast time today. And then just to let you know, I try and do them about an hour apart, just to let my voice rest a little bit. And what I would say in closing to any of you that are still on here, if you look right above your head in blue, the New Health Conversation, that's the website. Go to Google or whatever there it is right there. Type in the New Health Conversation. And it will take you, sorry, why didn't it go? Hold on. Oh, there we go. Type in the New Health Conversation on Google, and it will take you to the website. Well, first it'll take you to the link, sorry, because this is not a link. There you go. You can click on that if you want. And there's the website. There's nothing to buy. We have nothing to sell. We don't sell stuff. We're educators. But the only thing on that is the medical proof, including #1 exclusive podcast with the #1 weight loss nutrition physiologist in the entire world. Now, you don't have to believe me, and you can have whatever opinion you want, and you can go whatever diet you want, but 2/3 of you, according to all the medical proof, will gain back more weight than you lost. If you want to waste more of your time and your energy and your own health, I mean, your health is like your bank account. Are you taking money out of your bank account every day because you're in nutritional deficiency, or are you making a deposit to your health? Based on the evidence, if you're relying just on regular food from the United States, and I'm not talking about supplements here, you're making a withdrawal from your health every single day. And you're accelerating things like aging and your mental fog and your lack of energy, and all the things you're having going on are one simple thing: you don't have enough nutrition. It's just that simple. And this is not about supplements, lotions, potions, pills, magic elixirs. It has nothing to do with that. Okay, everybody, I'm going to close this out, and I hope you will all go to the website, because we won't contact you if you go there. The only way we can contact you is if you scroll down and give us permission to contact you. Okay, everybody, have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, afternoon, wherever you are, might be anywhere in the world. Bye for now.